Oh, hello, Chris.
Hillary, you sound way too excited today.
I'm so excited. Welcome back from our winter break.
We did have an extended winter break.
We had those holidays.
Lots of holidays.
We had the pandemic.
A little bit of pandemic mixed in.
And just overall joy and welcoming the new year.
I don't know if I'd say joy, but it was a welcome new year.
I had joy, so, 50% is pretty good.
Yeah. Congratulations for you. Do you know what a rock star we have on the show today?
I do, and I am so excited.
Absolute rock star winemaker. She was one of the first people to get 100-point scores for the places that she made wine at, and really kind of set off the whole cult wine phase for Napa Valley. So
when they say cult wine, I'm glad the cults aren't creepy here. You know, I'm glad we're wine cults instead of like the
Moonies,
the punch cults. You know, the
the
Kool-Aid punch.
The Nike wearing Kool-Aid punch cults.
Yeah. I'm glad we went in a different direction with that.
Just Cabernet cult.
Yeah, I'm all about that cult.
Rock on.
All
right, everybody, enjoy.
Hello, everybody. We're back for another fabulous episode.
Hi, Hillary.
Hello.
It's been a few weeks off.
We had to take a month off for the holidays and
COVID. Well, we're all back.
But now we're fully protected. We have all of the antibodies.
Outstanding. Well, thanks for showing back up and continuing to do this podcast in 2022.
You're welcome.
This is the third year we've been doing it.
I know.
Calendar year.
Yes. Do you want to tell everyone who our special guest is today?
I'd love to. So we're really lucky to be sitting down with Heidi Barrett today. And we're up here at Calistoga at their house. And she's one of the most well-known winemakers in Napa Valley, probably even the world. Mm-hmm. And she's been referred to, get this, as the first lady of wine.
That's very regal.
Very regal.
It is kind of regal, isn't it?
I like
Thank
it.
Thank you. I like it too.
And that was Robert Parker, who I'm sure we'll get into later, but that was the first person that you got a 100-point score from.
That's right.
Cool.
Thank you.
And let's run down the list here. Dalla Valle, Screaming Eagle, Paradigm, Grace Family, Fantesca, Buehler. Wait a second.
We have a lot of crossover with past guests.
How about that? We've interviewed John Buehler. We've interviewed
Chelsea Hoff.
Chelsea and friends at Fantesca. So our circles already
Very good. I'm in good company.
Well intertwined.
Nice.
But I think the most important part about Heidi, probably the thing she's most important or most proud of, is her bunco skills.
I think so.
In Calistoga.
Oh my gosh. Yes, the word is out. We haven't played that in a while.
No, we had to another COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
that went by the wayside.
A heck of a bunco player. So with that resume, Heidi, thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
Do you know what we do at 9-1 Wine?
Not exactly.
Most people don't. So
I figure I'm going to learn as we go.
I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've duped you into this this podcast, let's look at a couple fun police log entries. As I said before, and as I'll continue to say, this is a low budget podcast.
Low budget podcast.
Low budget
Unless
podcast.
you started putting in more money that I don't know about.
Low budget, high authenticity.
You won't let me get that joint business account for some weird reason. But we are going to be doing November 2021, and then we're going to be doing November 1992 in honor of your first 100-point score.
Very sweet. Thank you.
You start us, Hill.
Okay. This is just a simple one. This was Thursday, November 4th. Report of a husky running down the center lane of Main Street. That's it. We don't know where the husky's going, if it's running from someone, running to someone.
Oh, man.
But that's all.
He's just running.
He's just running.
This is good. This was a throwback to November 4th, 6:25 a.m. in 1992. Woman reports a rooster crowing every morning starting at 4 a.m. This is an ongoing problem in the area of Spring Street. There you go.
That's what roosters do.
Yeah.
He's doing his job. We have a rooster as well. I have one from October 28th. It was a Wednesday, 11:34 p.m. Anonymous male reported a suspicious subject in a green turtleneck with a spray paint can westbound on Adams Street. So we don't know whether it's the green turtleneck that was the suspicious part or the spray paint can. I'm guessing it's the paint.
I'm going to go with
And
turtleneck.
how did they see the paint?
I know, in the dark at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Very nice.
Maybe he had like a trail of paint drops
Something.
following him.
Here we go. Here's a Sunday, November 22nd, 1992. Drunken public disturbance reported at a local tavern. Man was arrested, was injured in an encounter with officers, transported to the hospital for treatment, and returned to the PD for booking. He didn't get away.
Oh, yes. So this was in the morning. October 27th, 8:42 a.m. A woman reported 2 geese are in this pond on Mitchell, and they do not belong there, and were very nasty when reporting party tried to convince them to leave. If anyone reports 2 lost geese, they are probably in the pond upsetting the ducks. We were joking. We think it might be a duck problem, actually. The ducks should call in. They're upset.
Oh, man. That's good. Well, you guys have a great spot up here. Do you have a lot of wildlife up in Calistoga?
We do have a lot of wildlife. I was looking at this one where it says 2 coyotes were seen on Oak Avenue late Sunday night. We have coyotes seen here regularly. It never makes the police log, but we have them on a regular basis.
I was thinking with that one, could you imagine walking out of like Goose and Gander and there'd just be like 2 coyotes hanging out on Oak Avenue?
In town it would be a little weird. Out where we live, it's sort of
It's much more normalized.
Yeah. And we had foxes barking up the hill. They have such an interesting croaky bark that it's very distinct. So we had foxes last night. So we were making sure to save our chickens, making sure the gates were locked and they're safe in their coop because, they can be quite vicious with chickens as well. So, we have a few things.
So how is life up here by
the country?
Yeah.
Love it out here.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. How's the winery these days?
Wineries are all good. Yeah. Everybody on both sides, because Bo works with his family's winery. I work for a bunch of people, as you guys know. So everybody's doing well. We're just, getting through our winter bottlings right now. I bottled maybe 2 weeks ago a couple of rosés for different clients, and my dry muscat and a Grenache from 2020. Actually, one red wine that we actually made from the Fire vintage, but it was from Santa Barbara, so they didn't get smoke down there. It was one of the few areas on the entire West Coast that had clean red fruit, so we brought a little bit of grapes up from that.
Nice.
Yeah,
did you make anything from 2020? From here up?
Not from here.
Napa.
Nope, not from here. Only our muscat, which white wine you could make clean because you don't use the skins. So we have the dry muscat that we call Muscat Canelli under my La Sirena brand. I got rosé from Amador County, as I always do, and it's Primitivo. Very low skin contact, again, none, as much as I could, just get the skins off there immediately. That's also clean, and we just sold out of that, actually, so that went really well. And then I made Chardonnay from Russian River area, and that was clean and beautiful as well. But that's it. Nothing off of our home ranch. No red grapes at all. Chateau Montelena, too, didn't pick a grape. It was so sad, as you guys know.
It was a rough year.
That was rough, and that add COVID on top of that. Wow. Let's not do that again. No. Why isn't that in the police log, right? That's a serious crime. I know.
But there are some gems to come out in 2020 then, so that's good.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Some good stuff.
Well, take us back to tell us a little bit about you when you first started making wine. You went to Davis, right? You graduated
I went
from
to Davis, but even before that. So we lived here, my family. My dad was a winemaker, Dr. Richard Peterson. We moved here in like 1968 when my dad went to work for BV, the little Rutherford winery there, Buehler Vineyard. And my dad was sort of the heir apparent to Andrei Chilichev when he was going to retire. So my dad became the new winemaker at BV in 1968. I was going into 6th grade at good old RLS locally here in St. Helena. And my sister was at the elementary school going into, 3rd grade, I think. We were 2 years apart in age, but 3 years apart in school. And so life was pretty simple back then. We were really into riding horses. We rode our horses to the vet once a year when we needed to. We didn't have a horse trailer, so there were no fences between the vineyards. And we just would hop on the horses bareback and trot them down to Dr. Gouveia over there on Eller's Lane.
Yes.
So cool.
And ride them back when they got their shots for the year and all of that. And so it was sort of there weren't any real restaurants here then, very few. I think there was, what was that one called? There was, the Copper Chimney, Vern's Copper Chimney in St. Helena. It's long gone.
You can bring back that name.
Yeah, I know. I knew. What was it? Yeah, that was it. So you pretty much had to make your own fun, and it was easy to do because the wine community continues. I think it's just, set in tradition that it's always a pretty friendly group. And so you end up making friends with other wine families and other just community families and having dinner parties, having, families over for dinner, and we'd go to their house and play with their kids for dinner. So we did that a lot growing up, and it was fun. So
That sounds
Cool.
very similar
Sounds
to what
phenomenal.
we still do.
Yeah,
today.
exactly.
That's
It's kind
what
of the
our
heart
fun
of
is.
We
Napa
just
Valley.
replaced
Exactly.
Vern's Copper Chimney with Goose and Gander and
And
Anna's.
Cook.
I know. We have much better restaurant options now. Yeah, some restaurants anyway.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So how much did your dad being involved in being the winemaker at BV kind of influence you to go into making wine?
A lot, actually. Not even on purpose, but just by osmosis. It just kind of happened. And we just, were exposed to that. We'd go visit him at work. We'd see all the, grapes coming in and wine being made, and, got to be friends with all of his team and everything. And those are some of the people that we'd go have dinner with, like the Rosenbrand family. That
Cool.
Teo Rosenbrand was cellar master there, and Ron and Rick were our same ages as my sister and I. And so we just, and Paula was one of my mom's very best friends. They used to talk on the phone every day until they both passed away. So longtime friends from the winery or the Chelachevs, they'd come over for dinner. We'd go to their house for dinner. And yeah, they loved watching our fish tank, which was hilarious. So after dinner, this is blast from the past. Things are pretty slow. We would literally watch the fish. After dinner, everybody sit on the carpet and watch our fish tank. Andre and Dorothy Chelachev and my parents and us would watch our fish. Yeah. And then, the Myers. So Justin Meyer, when he was Brother Justin, that goes way back too. He was a longtime family friend when he was still a Christian brother. Mm-hmm. He would come over to our house when we were little girls, and he would make pizza and breadsticks, which we thought were the best thing on the planet, and play the banjo and sit out on our deck and sing and drink wine with my parents, playing the banjo, and they'd be all singing at the top of their lungs. And it was, old school Napa Valley. That's what we did for fun. And he was such a great friend to our family. And my sister and I were flower girls in his wedding when he, decided to not be a brother anymore and marry Bonnie and have kids of his own and all of that. So, long time, pretty special.
Because that was the Silver Oak.
Yeah, the beginning of Silver Oak. Yeah, and he also was the one who hired me right out of school when I got out of Davis in 1980. I needed a job, right?
Yeah.
So I called Justin, and he hired me at Francisca, and at that time where Silver Oak was being made. So that was before Silver Oak had its own winery. And it was Franciscan, which he was a partner in. And Silver Oak was made almost as a custom crush project there for a number of years before they built their own facility. So I got to work on Silver Oak and was just, in the cellar, slogging away there with rubber boots and all that. Crush job, and I did that for a couple of years. Yeah.
Wow. And then you worked at Buehler.
I worked at Buehler, after I had worked for a couple other places. I interned in Germany, I interned in Australia, and then I worked for Rutherford Hill for just one season, and then I got hired away from there in January of 83. So I would have worked at Rutherford Hill in 82, I guess. For Crush, and I was on the graveyard shift running centrifuges with two other guys. Nobody even uses centrifuges really anymore. It's such antiquated technology, but we would stay up all night, working that, and then sleep during the day, and then go back, graveyard shift. So I got an offer in January the next year to go work for John Buehler, and he just, I had left Rutherford Hill partway through Crush, or that job had ended, so I ended up down at Buehler Vineyards working for Jerry Looper for that Crush of 82 for the main part of it, actually, and that's where John came to meet up with me and said, I need a winemaker, come talk to me. So so he hired me to be head winemaker in 1983 when I was only 25 then, so pretty young to take on that.
And there wasn't a lot of women winemakers back
Not
then.
very many.
That was my next question. Do you feel like in this field it was like a difficult thing, like breaking glass ceilings, or
not so much? I think that mostly it was very much so. It was, if you were capable and had interest, it was open to us. It never was really closed to women. It just, I think not a lot of women were really that interested in it because it is very physical. It's a lot of hard work. It's not glamorous. I mean, you always hear about the glamorous wine industry, but honest to God, it is a very hard work, rubber boot, non-glamorous job. You're often covered in juice and sticky
you're dirty
stuff.
a lot.
You're dirty a lot. Yeah, you're dirty a lot working on this delicious beverage that we try to make. It's a messy, dirty job, and it's a lot of hard work. And I think that just doesn't attract that many women that want that part of it. Now there's a lot more of us doing it where they realize there's a lot to be said for it. There's so much I like about it, actually, and I don't mind hard work, obviously, and most other winemakers realize that as well. But it's not the, like the marketing side where you get to wear like a clean, nice outfit every day and meet the public and talk about the more, glamorous side. So it's good that people have different interests. We need people to do all of those jobs. But winemaking, I think, was open to women. It just wasn't that popular. And I think the only thing in the cellar that I ran into with working with mostly guys is they just want to see if you can do the job. You don't want to be the weak link in the chain, and they don't want to pick up your slack. So if you can, give me the shovel, I'll shovel pumice. I can clean the tank, send me in, put on the rubber pants, off you go. Once they see you're just part of the team, they don't worry. Then you're just one of the people, one of the guys, right? So I think that's the main thing is if you can do the work, you can totally do the job if you have interest. So I didn't really have much trouble working my way up. And then I started being able to, be good at figuring things out and finding ways to do things more efficiently. And I'd offer my opinion and they would take my advice. And pretty soon I started being like in charge of places because I had a good sense of that and could work well with teams. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you ever wind up in the police log while you were working in Napa?
I never did.
We're growing up here.
Gosh.
Never made it.
Not even riding horses down Main Street?
I know. 2 girls riding their horses to the vet on Eller's Lane. It never made the police
I
log.
think you should bring that back and then it will.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, where was that one about the mischievous girls?
Oh, right
That's
here.
a good one. Here we go. Okay, this is a fun one. Heidi, you'll appreciate this.
Okay.
This is 1992, November the 15th, on Sunday,
12 a.m.
12 a.m. So this is Saturday night into Sunday morning, 1500 block of Hudson. Resident reported some girls just TP'd her residence, also shaving cream and eggs. Officers made a traffic stop on the responsibles at Hudson and Adams. They didn't get too far.
No, they didn't.
Officers brought the 5 responsible girls, parentheses, all approximately 17 years old, to the PD. All parents were contacted and responded to PD to pick up their daughters. Responsibles to clean up the mess they made and do whatever work reporting party wants them to do to make up for what they did.
That's a good one.
Intense.
Very good.
I wonder what they had them do.
I don't know. Hopefully clean. Hopefully clean with the TP.
Well, it was clean and then whatever else.
They had to pay the penance to whoever lives at Hudson Avenue. Wow. Have you ever had any good pranks in the wine industry? Any April Fool's Day?
Oh, gosh. Oh, for sure. There's a good one that goes around the valley. It's been a while since I've heard it passed around, but there's a mythical tool called the hose stretcher. And a lot of wineries are in on it, and there's only one, and it gets loaned out to different wineries. So typically the interns, you give them the hose, and it's 10 feet short. What are you going to do? Oh, we need the hose stretcher. Well, we loaned it to the guys at Sterling. You got to go pick it up. So they go, and the intern has no clue, right? They drive up to Sterling. I need the hose stretcher, and the guys are elbowing each other. Ha, 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 yuck, yuck, yuck. And go, gosh, no, we gave it, the Schramsberg guys have it. You got to go pick it up over at Schramsberg. So you give them the runaround for, 3 or 4 places before they start to figure out there is no hose stretcher, is there? Like, right.
It's so perfect. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So tell us about the early days at Dalla Valle and Screaming Eagle. That's always really interesting to me because those are, you've made these cult brands basically with them and on their team, and that's so cool.
Yeah, it was. It was quite a fun chapter for me, both of those brands actually, and all of my clients actually have, all different fun stories that come along at each place. So it's been a lot of fun helping create those things and watching them be very successful and sometimes surprisingly so. I just try to do a great job for everybody, and sometimes they just get launched to superstardom, and sometimes they're just known for delicious wine constantly, but never really make a splash with the press or for whatever reason, right? So there's sort of some intangibles there, but yeah, I had a lot of fun. I think working for Gustav Dalla Valle was one of my all-time favorite jobs. He was just such a character and such a bigger-than-life person. I don't know if you ever got a chance to meet him, but just a dynamo, just amazing. Just very, very down-to-earth, very... had just a great laugh. I loved his laugh. He would just laugh at himself. He said, I never suffer embarrassment. He would just crack up. If he did something silly, he would just laugh it off, which was a good lesson. And he was a mentor to me in a lot of ways too, more about just zest of life kind of things. And even influenced, like when we built this house style, sort of a Mediterranean California mix, which is very much what his house was. And also his love of diving was so much fun for me to work for him. While I'd be working on blends or in the lab doing lab work, he'd just be regaling me with all these stories of early days of inventing,
scuba
tanks
gear.
and scuba gear. And his company was Scuba Pro, which is still in existence and still one of the top brands in the world. And his counterpart was Jacques Cousteau, who had U.S. divers. And they were really the same age and competitors in every sense of the word. And Gustav was super imaginative with his design work and all of that, but U.S. Divers was more commercial. So, but they were, rivals, and the stories I heard about that were just incredible, right? And some of the first stories of him free diving and swimming with sharks, where he'd, hook a gaff on one and ride along like on a shark with no tank, nothing, just wild man, right? Crazy stuff. Cool. Yeah, and then things like inventing the first, working with submarine people and inventing all of those things, also for war use as well. He had some incredible stories.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Did you ever get to dive with him?
I never got to dive with him. No, he was pretty much, in his 70s when I met him, which is not too old to dive for sure, but he had other health issues, and he'd never dove the whole time I was working there for about 8 years, I guess, until he passed away. Yeah, but I just loved going up there. It was always wonderful, and such an honor for me to really help him create his dream. That was the best. That's what he really wanted to do, and I got to help him do it.
Nice. Well, it's so cool to see now Maya has taken over as the winemaker and kind of come full circle now.
Yeah, and she was a little girl when I worked there, and so that was another great thing about that job is my girls were like 1 and 3, I think, when I was working there, and Maya was 2. And so Naoko, his wife, said, bring your girls. You would do me a favor to help entertain Maya. And I'm like, wow, dream job. Not only I get to go to work and I have people, another, kid for them to play with, and their nanny watching them and having them, as they got older too, because I was there quite a while, so they kind of grew up together. They'd be out in the pool. I'd go check on them. No, they're swimming. They're having lunch. Like, wow, this is great. I know. They're perfectly happy. They don't miss me at all if I'm out in the winery for a few hours. So that was just a perfect job. It was great.
So then when you got after that first 100-point score, what was that like? How did that feel?
Amazing.
Was it surreal?
And what happened? Like what accompanies that when that happens?
Yeah, it was, I think in the 90s, when you got 100 points was really the heyday of that. That was really the era of sort of the cult wine where wines were considered in that sort of higher echelon league, and that's when 100 points really meant something special. I think to a certain extent less so now, honestly, because there's a lot more of them. There's a lot more bloggers giving hundreds. There's not anybody really to replace Robert Parker. That was the deal. If you got it from him, that was what really counted. And so it was a big thing. It was definitely a big thing. And it did make a blip on the radar as far as sales. The winery was the phone ringing off the hook. If you got 100 in those days, it made a big deal to sales. The wines would sell out pretty quickly.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and we had 2 in a row there. So 92 and 93 for Dalla Valle Maya, the specialty blend from that particular vineyard.
Nice.
So
'cause that's Cab Sauv and Cab Franc, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Nice.
Have you found you have a lot of people that kind of discovered you then and now followed you through your whole
for sure.
career?
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
even with your own label and things like that?
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of our visitors and customers now that have been, tracking me for a while. And if they find that they like what I do, they'll definitely want to not only visit, my stuff at La Sirena, but they'll make a whole like Heidi day, and they'll go to Paradigm, and they'll make an appointment, and they'll go to Fantesca
We need
and
to
Kenzo.
start a wine tour.
I know.
A Heidi wine. We could get like a really kind of bus,
I know. Well, some of the
We have to bus
drivers
down
kind of
there.
do it already. Some of the drivers
Okay.
put together that as a little tour already.
I feel like we need like a lunch at Heidi's favorite spot, and like a little souvenir bag of Heidi's favorite thing. I'm just saying, there's
Some of this-
opportunity here.
Some of this olive oil from the ranch here.
Yeah, some of our driveway olive oil. Come over and hear my roosters crow. Can maybe make the police log. We don't know.
Well, I have a silly one from the log.
Oh, good.
You don't say.
You mean it's not murder, shockingly. At 7:36 on a Friday night, a car was completely blocking a driveway on Spring Street. Police couldn't locate its owner, so they had it towed. The next log is at 8:31, an hour later. A car was reported stolen from Spring Street. It turned out to be the car from the last call. It had been towed, not stolen.
Perfect.
Good old St. Helena. I love it. I like this one too. On Wednesday, November 24th at 7:37 evening, the lights were still on at the Crane Park tennis courts. An officer helped turn them off. That's it. End of the story.
Well, I'm glad we were not wasting energy.
I know.
Absolutely.
Thank goodness.
Well, this is kind of real crime.
Oh,
St. Helena police assisted Calistoga police responding to a shooting on Washington Street.
wow. Oh,
I work on Washington Street
was
some
this
days.
the, I think this was that at Susie's? There was a shooting at Susie's.
What?
Not too
That's
long ago.
dramatic.
No, there wasn't a shooting. It was a fight. Sorry.
Oh.
Fight at Susie's, shooting on Washington Street.
oh, wow.
Yeah, and actually, like 3 people were hurt.
Whoa, that's kind of
goodness.
serious.
Big
That's
time.
actually real police
Yeah.
license.
I was gonna say.
It was at a house
Wow.
party in Calistoga.
Oh, my.
So
I'm
apparently-
glad we were not invited to that party.
Calistoga's a little rough and tumble.
Can be. It can be for sure.
My God.
Here's another animal one. Report of an injured owl on top of a car on Polk Street. It got spooked and flew away. So, problem solved.
I feel like that's more of a Dr. Gold call
Yeah.
than a
No.
police call.
But, you know,
But
we
I
know-
would love to see the St. Helena Police Department out there with like big nets,
Big
trying
owl
to
catchers.
catch. Yeah.
Then they could enlist the help of these folks at 4:45 p.m. Wednesday, November 11th, 1992. 800 block of Hunt, not too far from where I live. Man reported 4 male juveniles, on the roof of the barn behind a vacant house. Officer responded and spoke with the subjects, who stated they would not go up on the roof anymore. Also, problem solved.
There we go. Just love that. Mischief managed.
I like
Good old
how
St. Helena.
much the police department at that time just would talk to people, and that
That's so
was
great.
that was it.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, hey, don't do this. Okay,
And I think they probably still do that.
they
But
just don't mention it.
They
in
still
their
mention
log.
it. There's some more
Is
important
that
things,
like a
like owls.
legality scene?
Here on Tuesday, November 9th, 7:17 a.m., a manhole cover popped off near Tainter and Oak Street.
Sounds dangerous.
That does sound
It might have
dangerous.
been during the. Was it raining there? No, it wasn't raining. That was later in
be
December.
November.
Who knows? Interesting.
These are pretty funny.
Right, they're pretty good for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, this is some real crime or just a prank. At 9:38 a.m. on a Friday, St. Helena Elementary School reports attempted arson last night. A sweatshirt was left set on fire outside the classroom door.
Yikes.
Well, someone really didn't want their sweatshirt. Yikes.
I feel like that was aggressive to call it arson. I
Probably
feel like that
little bit
escalated
much.
very quickly.
a little bit much.
At 1:15 p.m., woman reports 2 males stranded in the mud at Highway 29 in Deer Park.
Oh, wow.
Was this a car in the mud, or were the 2 men actually
in the mud.
just stuck? Were they trying to have like the mud bath experience, and it just
Maybe.
it went wrong?
That's true.
They needed to keep driving to Calistoga for a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever done the mud baths in
I have.
Calistoga?
Yeah, a couple times.
Thumbs up?
Yeah, it's
Fun?
worth doing. It's weird, but
Yeah.
I think
That's
it's,
what I said. It's worth
Yeah.
doing it for the experience.
Yeah, I've only done it when, guests from out of town are here and want to go do it, so I've done it twice that way, and it's been quite a while since I've done it, but I think the most surprising part is I thought it was going to be super slick, squishy mud. It's kind of like peat moss. It's
Yeah.
it's got like full of sticks, and it's kind of scratchy, and it's super black, but I think, and you don't squish into it, you kind of crawl your way out like feet first, so you're sitting on top of it, and then they pile mud on top of you. And it's definitely really gritty and a lot of sticks and things in it.
Do you feel good
So
afterwards?
You do.
Okay.
It
Your
does.
skin feels fantastic.
Yeah.
What is special about? Is it Calistoga mud? Is it from the geyser?
I have no idea
I
where they
did
get the
not
mud.
question where they source their mud
This
from.
I don't
This is
know.
a very important
I
terroir
would like
question.
you to call them.
I know. Where'd you get your mud?
I don't think I wanted to know at that point, because at that point you don't have clothes on, so it's going lots of places. I think I just prefer to think that it was
it's all
fresh
gonna be fine.
organic mud.
And make sure it's free trade, organic,
Unused.
What's the
non-GMO.
AVA?
Yeah.
What's the AVA of this mud?
Speaking of mud and AVAs, what's your favorite place to make wine from, AVA-wise?
Oh, I'd say either Calistoga or Oakville are my two faves,
Cool.
actually. Yeah.
Nice.
Those are, I think, the best of our valley. Yeah.
I love it. Great spots.
Yeah.
And especially, so then you have Screaming Eagle right kind of down the road from
That's
Dalla
Oakville.
Valle.
And Dalla Valle, those are Oakville. Paradigm is Oakville.
Paradigm too, yeah.
Yeah.
And how was working with Ren and... they're
Ren,
so cool.
Ren and Maryland,
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, so I'm still their winemaker. I've been there since 1991.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That is such a hidden
More
secret.
than,
I mean,
more than 30 years.
that is... And they're so
Yeah.
reasonably priced and such a great bottle of wine. I remember seeing them a couple times at a tasting at Cadet, and they're just fantastic folks, and the wine is amazing. So
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really cool.
it's been good this whole time. Yeah, and they're just delightful people, which, is a testament to how long I've been there. They're just delightful to work with. We have a good team. Also, our vineyard manager has been there almost as long as I have. Fernando, he's been there, I think, since like 92 or something like that. So he's been there also 30 years. And there's a couple other guys in the vineyard too. Pete, he's been there that long as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 3 of us of the team have been there 30 years.
that's cool.
Yeah.
You don't see that a lot.
I know.
Which brings me to another question. So the whole, family-run wineries and vineyards and businesses. Do you, when you were here initially in Napa, that was the norm.
Yeah.
And now it has changed to more consolidated. There's a lot more,
I know.
big companies taking over. How do you
True.
feel about all of these changes that have kind of hit Napa since? When was the turning point? 2000, 2010?
Yeah, maybe something like that, where
Yeah.
there started to be more consolidation. But there's still a lot of families running little vineyards and hanging on to that. And I think there's still a place for that, which is great. And, we definitely fall into that camp with our little vineyard operations up here. And Chateau Montelena, even though that's more medium size, is still, family owned and operated, which is great. And they're hanging on to that. All the family has voted to stay in and keep going, which is so great going forward. So it's not all just turning into corporations at all. And I think Napa especially is known for these smaller little family operations, and there's hundreds of them. There's hundreds of us doing it. So I love that. It just makes my, does my heart good.
Yeah. I think that's what's so
That
cool to
continues.
see these see that happen and to have consumers actually know
Yes.
what is what and who's running
Yes.
those
That's
businesses.
right. Yeah, and the consumers really resonate with that. They want authenticity. They want the real deal that came from what came before. What's the heart of Napa? And that still exists here very much so. I
Exactly.
do love that.
I mean, think how many times we see a tourist pulling over to take a picture of a tractor or
Yeah.
something. They
Yeah.
do really like that.
Yeah.
This is just a farming community
It is.
aspect of it.
It is.
You can come drive it if you want. Come drive my tractor. Give me a break.
I love right now, too, everybody out with all the glorious yellow mustard throughout the valley. Gosh, it's pretty. I mean, that just never gets old on a sunny
really
day. It's
doesn't.
so stunningly beautiful. So
great.
if people haven't seen that, they need to come because it's glorious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just
And
don't
then-
block Highway 29.
That's right.
So-
That's right.
Well, in front of Opus One last year. It
Oh
was,
my gosh.
crazy.
That was,
Yeah.
I shocked
It
more people
was.
did not get hit by vehicles.
I know.
and-
It was getting a little scary. That
It-
was
yeah,
a
it
little
was
sketchy.
a
So
little-
many people pulling over. Oh,
Yeah.
mustard, stop the car. And
Yeah. And then they would be
there's-
darting across. I'm like, this is a
Yeah,
highway.
yeah,
It's like the Napa Valley sign. Same thing. Crazy.
yeah.
Well, now I know Chelsea is involved. Your daughter Chelsea is involved in winemaking.
She is.
Remy also? Or is she,
Remy does my sales and marketing for La
Sales.
Serena.
Cool.
Yeah, she's been with the company 12 years.
Nice.
So we have a little mother-daughter duo going there, and she's just terrific at that. So yeah, her talents lie more in the marketing side, doing all of our website stuff. She's a really good writer, so pulling our winemaker notes together and and doing all of our website stuff as well as events and things like that.
So how does that feel to have the whole family involved
It's
in
fun.
everything?
It's good.
Cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
And then let's hear about the La Serena brand.
La Serena. So, gosh, that started in 1994, and I've had it. I don't even know how many years that is. 28, something like that. So a long time. So I sort of view it as one of my clients, but it's really, more of my focus, of course, as it should be, more of my own stuff. And with that, I make All kinds of different wines. Not a lot of any one thing, but small amounts of wines that I just think are delicious and fun to make.
Cool.
Flagship wine, of course, Cab, which is what I'm best known for, so we're always going to make that. And then we have some unusual ones like the Muscat Canelli that's called Moscato Azul. It's a dry Muscat, so perfumey but without the sugar.
Cool.
I make some really nice Chardonnay from Russian River, kind of a classic, beautiful Chard. We have some other really fun red blends as well, more art. I'd call them winemaker wines, where there's sort of not any particular variety, but my own proprietary blends.
Yeah.
One is called Pirate Treasure Red, which is
I know there's a pirate bottle in there.
There's a pirate bottle in there.
Cool.
Yep, kind of goes with my old mermaid theme, as you know, La Sirena means the mermaid in Spanish and Italian. So
Cool.
That is what's on our label. But the Pirate wine started as a blend of, it turned out to be 7 red varieties, and I didn't have a product mix for that in my lineup. So it was started in 2007 when I bought all kinds of different varieties that I just thought, well, that sounds fun. Yeah, I want to make some Grenache. Sure, I'll take some Petit Verdot, some Petit Syrah, but just bring it on. Let me, buy a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then it turned out I just started over with a whole new blend. And after a long day of putting all those together, I thought, well, this is kind of like Treasure of the Seven Seas. I wonder if I could name it Pirate. And so
Cool.
nobody had trademarked that for wine, shockingly enough, and we were able to get it. I know, because Pirate, it's so popular.
Yeah.
There's Pirate rum, there's Pirate beer, there's, everything. So many pirate movies, all that stuff. So our trademark is actually Pirate Treasure Red. So a play on treasured and treasure red for red wine, obviously. And it is a blend of 7, typically. Yeah, and sometimes
cool.
it could be as many as, I think the most we've ever had is maybe 17 different components. So 7 varieties, but 4 of those might be 4 different Syrah blocks from different parts of the valley. But a complete, big Napa Valley red wine. So it's really
cool.
fun. Yeah, and then the newest is a wine we're calling Studio Series, and it has one of my paintings on it every year. So there's been a lot of artist label series around, and this was, of course, Remy saying, Mom, you're a painter, why wouldn't we do that with your own art? Well, hello, what a good idea. So we just started doing that with the 17 release, and so it has a very bold kind of vineyard painting on it, and then every year it'll be a different one of my paintings.
Cool.
So yeah, kind of combining both art in the bottle and art on the bottle.
That's such a great idea to have that in collectible too. You have different years of different artwork.
Exactly.
So you're an artist not only in wine but in other mediums and in the air too, because you fly helicopters, which is something that I have kind of in common with you.
A brother aviator.
Yeah,
I love it.
So I'm sorry, Hill. I know you want to get back to the police.
Here
line.
we go.
I will. I know I can listen. I'll learn a lot. I keep telling you I need to fly something. Just everyone's a little nervous to put me in the air. After being in a car.
You get distracted with Wally on a walk.
There's
or when
so
you see
many
mustard.
things.
Or when you see a tractor.
True. There's less distraction in the air, though.
You actually would be fine. I think you'd be very competent.
You would be great.
But anyway, I know for the listeners out there, Hillary is itching to get into the police log, but for a minute,
you're fine.
she's shuffling papers nervously. It's okay. We'll get back to it. So tell me about flying, when you started flying helicopters. And
Yeah, so...
Hey, Bo.
And here comes Carla, our dog. There she is. Our ranch dog.
Ranch dog.
Yeah, she loves to ride in the back of the truck. Let's see, I started flying helicopters in 2006. So once our youngest daughter, Chelsea, went off to college, I started flying. I'd sort of been biding my time, wait until they were mostly grown before I took on such an endeavor. But I really kind of wanted to do it my whole life. And my dad, I grew up with, artist, fun adventure girl mom, and my dad being a very scientific winemaker, but also he was a pilot and flew for military and all of that, and was a helicopter pilot when we were kids. And so that was my first introduction to it, was flying with him, where he'd sort of squirrel us under his jacket and pop me and my sister in a helicopter and take us for a little flight around. We just thought it was the coolest thing. Total magic carpet ride. As you well know, it is very much like that. And so all these years later, I've just always really liked them, really wanted to do it. And when I worked for the Buehlers, actually, backing up, I used to see a helicopter going by often up in the hills there. And I asked around, who is that? What's going on with that guy? And he was...
Al Wilsey?
I don't know who it was, but they told me it was somebody who was commuting to San Francisco.
Yeah, it would have been Al Wilsey.
Probably Al.
So D.B. on Rutherford Road there.
Yeah, was
Which
commuting.
They have the only legal helipad still up Valley.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to be them. So anyway, he was... I saw that, and it was sort of, the phrase, if you can see it, you can be it. I just never even knew that was an option, that you could fly yourself to work. Like, really? You could do that? And so I want that, right? So I always just kept that in the back of my head. And then 30 years later, I did it. So
Do you still fly to work?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
I do.
Where do you go?
Where I could get on board. All hospitals have a helipad.
That's a good point, Hill.
You could fly yourself to work. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So I can fly to some of the winery sites where they have room where I can land in the vineyard, and I can fly to vineyards that are some of the far-flung places where I source fruit. So like Amador County, I get Primitivo to make my rosé, the Rosato for La Sirena. So it's about an hour in the helicopter, just under, but it would be almost 4 hours on the road, 3.5 probably to drive up there where this vineyard is. And I just let the owner know I'm coming. He just, says, I'll meet you there with the truck.
Cool.
We land, I hop out, we go check grapes, I hop back in, go home. Likewise, Lake County, where the Muscat comes from, same thing. Long, windy road up there. It's like 40 minutes.
Way
by
safer in a helicopter.
Way safer.
Yeah, which I rarely say, but that is true.
Yeah.
I think it is,
It
actually. And direct flight, straight there, land, pull a sample, hop back in, go.
Cool.
Also, Mendocino, we fly up there. Sometimes I'll go with Bo, too, we'll trade off who flies, because we both can fly it, which is great. I love having second pilot on board. Is awesome to watch for birds and, whatever. And they source their Riesling for Montalena from up there. It's Potter Valley, so we'll fly up there and check those grapes too, do the Muscat on the way back, or either way. Where else? Just around. It's great.
So cool.
It's great. Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, and you fly an R44.
It's an R44. Yeah,
Nice.
Did most of my training in the little R22, the little teeny little thing, as you know.
If you can fly that, you can fly anything.
That's what everyone says. It's pretty squirrely.
I've flown 2 hours in those, and I can never get the hang of it. So,
oh man, yeah, I probably have 100 hours in that. It's a squirrely little gnat.
Oh my god, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but the first day, so I passed my check ride in 2010 in the little R22 that I'd done most of my training in, and I got to say, that is the hardest thing I've ever learned to do. It took everything I had to pass that day. The oral was 2 hours of them grilling you. Then you go fly for 2 hours, all the emergency procedure.
Are you doing touchdown auto rotations too?
No.
And that, okay,
no, we didn't have to do that, thank God. But we did, we did have to practice that a lot, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So I just was spent after that day and just so exhilarated. And the guy, my check pilot, just texted me 2 words, "Good job," and it just made me cry. I was just so elated by the whole thing and spent and everything. But it was awesome. It was one of those great days. So a week later, I show up to rent the same little thing, the same little R22, and I flew it up to Kenzo. Flew myself to work. A week later, after I passed my check ride, they just landed on a vineyard road in the dirt. No big deal. But I told the crew I was coming, so find the flattest spot for me to land, so I could kind of see where that was. So sure enough, big buzz around the winery. The whole crew knows I'm coming and everything. So I go, and I see this. There's an orange cone right in the middle of the field. Can't miss it. You know how easy it is to see stuff from the air, right? So there's an orange cone. My assistant up there is probably 6'5". He, as if I can't see it, he grabs it and he's swinging it like a wild man around his head. Like, okay, thanks. I got it. I can see. Thank you very much. And so there's like 20 people out there for my big grand entrance, right? So I do my little, do your little circle recon, check the wind, try to figure out how I'm coming in, do my little steady approach. I come in, I land. Everyone's watching. They're all staying there and all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I do my little 2-minute cool down, pop open the door, and out I pop, right? And then they all kind of like out of a Disney movie where a Martian is getting out. They all kind of approach the helicopter like, who are you? It was just one of the best days of my life. It was so good.
That's so cool.
That lifetime dream realized, and they're just like, wow, this
cool.
little teeny thing, and they're checking out the controls and all looking it over and everything. It was really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
See, Hillary, I'll go wave a cone for you so you can find out where to land.
Wow.
A big swinging motion, make it huge. Yeah.
Perfect. Because the giant helipad.
Except yours will be a sparkly pink cone.
I would hope. I don't want anything less.
All these years later, though, if I fly up there, nobody even comes out of the building anymore. So it's so disappointing. Like, her again.
You've got to convince the interns.
Only
to
the
go
first
out.
time, yeah.
So as we were talking, one more quick question about your first solo in a helicopter.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
So, I think probably every pilot probably goes through the same thing. You wonder, are you ready? And so I knew my instructor was this British guy named Barry, and he said, I never look back if I don't think you're ready. So when he gets out, he says, okay, you ready to go around the pattern yourself? And I watched him. I said, yeah, I think so. He got out and he walked away to the side, and I just kept watching him, and he never looked back. And I actually said out loud, holy shit. Microphone to myself. I'm like, whew, deep breath, roll the power back on. Okay, you know what you're doing. Yep. But he also warned me that with a 180-pound guy getting out, and it's this little lightweight helicopter, it's going to go up like just like a balloon. It's going to balloon right up, and it does. So when you pick up, it's definitely going to balloon up in the front, so you have to get ready to level the skids right away and then just fly like normal. And I was just, my heart was just racing. I'm going around the pattern, try not to, go outside of my altitude that desired and all of that stuff, come in and do it. And you had to do 3 set downs, three takeoffs and 3 landings in the pattern to do it. And so he took some pictures when I was doing it, so he sent me that and, blew one up for me as a big, little accomplishment and all that stuff. But it was exhilarating. I was just, I'm doing it. I'm, in here all by myself. I'm flying a helicopter.
You probably did that at, 15, 20 hours in the air, in the
something
helicopter?
Like that.
Yeah,
I mean, something like that, yeah.
Kids drive more before they're allowed to
for sure.
drive on their own.
So. I know. But yeah, when he gets out and walks away, it is serious stuff, man. You just watch like, oh my God, he's not coming back. Mm-hmm.
Great story.
Thank you.
Okay, so now that we've gotten my helicopter talk completed, Hillary, go ahead and pick your favorite.
I was going to say, do we have one we want to end it on? Does anyone have a really good... I saw there was a Coke machine being broken into. I thought it might be you somewhere, but... Oh, you like your Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Let's be explicit in what that means.
I guess today's day and age you have to.
Yes, 800 block of Charter Oak. Business reports an attempted break-in to the Coke machine during the night.
I guess they were probably after money. But.
Probably. I would not be. Let's see. Speaking of narcotics, Saturday, November 14th, 1992. 2:47 a.m. following a traffic stop, officer confiscated narcotics paraphernalia from some juveniles. Parents were notified.
Just notified.
Were your parents ever notified, Hillary, of anything you've done?
No. I mean, seriously, no. Like, I was a very
good. And your dad worked at the school you went to.
He knew about the parties before I did. So
that doesn't say much about you as a social creature. I thought you were popular, Hill.
I mean, I like to think I was well liked, but I was well liked without alcohol. No, I mean, I was a very straight shooter child. I still am. I'm very much a rule follower.
Yes, you are.
I admit that. Which I think there could be worse things.
It could be worse.
Here's one from 1:40 p.m. A caller asked whether an officer had stopped his cousins from painting. Dispatch said officers hadn't contacted anyone in regards to painting.
Painting what?
Painting what? I know. Sort of art related, I suppose. Not that kind of art.
So, speaking of art and wine, what are you most looking forward to in the next year, Heidi? What do you think?
Oh, more art for sure. I want to paint more. Cool. I didn't paint that much during the whole COVID thing. I just sort of lost my spark for it, but I definitely feel like that's back with a vengeance, and I've been spending some time in my studio, and I'm pretty fired up about it again. So, yeah, and I've sold some paintings lately, which always, only encourages me. So,
yeah. What's your style? What would you call it?
Well, let's see if there's anything in here. Well, that's an old one, that kind of bold one up there around the corner. You're able to see kind of bright colors. Mm-hmm. Some are, almost everything is something recognizable. I don't do abstract, but I do some vineyard stuff. I do some big florals. I'll do some, Matisse-esque kind of things. They're usually, sometimes I'll paint action, like some, racehorses or ski racers or something like that. Kind of fun to paint, action stuff. But it's a lot of fun. Oh, I did a great series of, I think they're fun, wine bottles that are kind of stylized with marbleizing the canvas first and then just painting and leaving the bottle so it looks like wine's flowing out of them from the way the canvas is marbleized.
Wow, cool.
Those are fun. And there's one of those on the cover of Napa Valley Life this month. I don't know if you've seen that, but Yeah, I can just grab it. So
Yeah,
you can
let's
see
check it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll show you. Yeah, there's a copy right over here.
Cool. Wow, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the latest issue. So
That's the current
Cool.
issue.
Right
Yeah,
on.
that's out right now.
The 20th annual.
That's right.
Oh, and this is the bottle with him and some of your art on it.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's the first
that's one of the
release
magnums,
of the studio series that I
Cool.
was telling you about, and then there's an article. There's actually a picture in here with the helicopter and everything.
Oh, cool.
So it
Right
goes
on.
into the wine story as well as kind of everything that I like. You know, the art
Yeah.
side as well as the wine side, and then it ties in the flying
Cool.
interest as well. So yeah.
You're certainly
Pretty fun
you're a
story.
Renaissance woman, so
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
It's really phenomenal to be up here and talk to you and get
Thank you.
get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah,
and,
you too.
And talk some
I
story
know. So
about.
more adventures this year. That's what I'm looking forward to. More
Good.
skiing, more dive trips, more everything as life returns to normal in the world. Hoping to do some travel if we're so lucky to be able to do that again. And I think we will. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if our listeners want to find your paintings,
Yes.
Or wine.
or wine, well, yeah, I was going to start with paintings. How would they go about that?
So we've had some of my small paintings of the bottles are at Joseph Cellars, where we do our hosting of our tastings for La Sirena. So I have a hospitality host named David Schultze, and they can contact him at contact@laserenawine.com and set up an appointment. There's our website, which laserenawine.com, which I think still has the Joie de Vivre little tab, which has some paintings on it. But if people just send me an email, then I can send them pictures of what I have. I had a couple people call. They wanted Christmas present paintings, like a guy for his wife. So I sent him stuff in his price range, and he selected something, and we shipped it out to him. We've also had tasters, come to taste wine, realize I painted, and then David can send them to meet me at the studio.
Oh, perfect.
And then they picked out several things that they wanted, and they, wrote a check on the spot and packed off the paintings to, ship them home
Perfect.
themselves. So, yeah, there's different ways to do it. If people have interest, they can definitely track me down and see what I have currently, or even I've even done some commission work in the past. If people want certain things for their cellars or whatever. Yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, Heidi, thank you so much.
Thank
We're
you so much.
Honored to have you on,
Wonderful.
and,
Yeah,
and thanks for the
likewise.
fun.
It
And
was
thanks
super fun.
for laughing through the police logger.
That was
What's on
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
Thank
All right,
you.
everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this episode with Heidi Barrett, truly a Napa Valley Renaissance woman.
The First Lady of Wine.
First Lady of Wine. Awesome.
Well, stay tuned. We've got some great guests coming up for the new year.
And Hillary also has tons of hats that she'll sell you for $20 a piece.
I will. I definitely will. Check us out on Instagram at 91 Wine Podcast and find us on all streaming platforms.
See ya.
You enjoy your evening and be safe.